Hey everyone, my name is Chloe and welcome to my first half of February wrap-up. So I've seen so many creators lately saying they hate filming wrap-ups, and I actually don't. I really love filming wrap-ups, but I think it's because I do it twice a month, so it's not that overwhelming, and it hasn't been that long since I read these, I guess. I don't know, but as always, I'm going to go over the stats for the first half of the month, and then I'm going to share the books that I read with my kids, and then I'll get into my reading, and we'll just talk about the books pretty much in the order that I read them, except I will do like middle grade, young adult, that kind of stuff. So in the first half of February, I read almost half of what I read in the second half of January. I have been like off my game, and I think the reason why is because I did a NetGalley vlog for my patrons, and so Patreon's always linked down below if you want to go see it. But anytime that I read books that are not on my shelf, I feel like I'm not as motivated to pick them up, and so then it slows me down and I get kind of slumpy. Even though, well, let's just get into the stats, because I feel a little slumpy even though it's been a pretty decent month or first half of the month. So I read 8 books in the first half of February. That's 2,713 pages, which is 181 pages per day. Again, nothing to sneeze at. Just it's weird that I went so much different than the second half of January. There's my average page length was 339 pages per book, so I was reading about half a book a day. I read 7 novels and 1 graphic novel. 6 were adult, 1 was young adult, and 1 was middle grade. 4 were from my shelf and 4 were from somewhere else, so still good. My goal is always 50%, so still good. 4 were from Libby, 3 were from NetGalley, and 1 was just from the library. So all of them, except for the 1 graphic novel that I got from the library, all of them were audio, so 7 audio, 1 physical. I read 4 new releases and 4 backlist, again, thanks to NetGalley. As far as genre goes, I read 4 mystery thriller, 1 contemporary, 1 romance, 1 women's fiction, and 1 nonfiction. So then star ratings, it was all kind of right in the middle. I had 1 3-star, 4 3.5 stars, 1 4-star, and 2 4.5 stars. So average rating was 3.75, but I feel like that was skewed based on the numbers, the fact that I don't have quite as much as normal, because I really don't feel like I'm kind of slumpy, and I really don't feel like it was that great of a couple weeks of reading. But my percentage, or my average rating, is normally 3.5, so it would seem it was higher. So yeah, that's everything as far as stats go. So let's get into the books that I read with my kids. As a reminder, I have a 6, 3, and 1-year-old. My 6 and 3-year-old will sit through anything. I mean, they'll let me read the dictionary, and they'll just sit there and listen to it. They love books. But so some of these are a little bit older, but I would say these are early middle grade, which again, what does that mean? I don't know. But early elementary, 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade, 1st to 4th grade maybe. The first one we read was the Barron Ste Bears Storybook Bible. So we read a devotional every, we take a nap time, rest time in the afternoon. So we read it then and we read it before bed. And they loved this. I really enjoyed it too. It's all as if bears were biblical creatures. And it just kind of jumps around and tells different stories. It doesn't jump around it's in the same order that the Bible is in, but it doesn't tell everything. This is definitely not comprehensive, but it was fun and just a different way to bring the Bible to life. So really enjoyed that one. Next, I have 2 that I guess I returned to the library accidentally. So we have Mercy Watson Fights Crime by Kate DiCamillo. I love Mercy Watson. This one is about somebody that comes into her house, and she unwittingly, kind of not on purpose, fights crime. Then we've got Sweet Dreams, which is Daisy Dreamer number 12 by Holly Anna. This one just came out. Daisy Dreamer is a series we really like about a little girl who has an imaginary friend named Posy. And this one was such a good conclusion to the series. I think it's the conclusion. But it talks about, are the things in your imagination real or not? And does it matter? If they're real to you, does it matter if they're real? So there's some lines blurred between the imaginary world and the real world, and Daisy just kind of coming to terms with the fact that if she believes it, that's great. That's all that matters. Next is Starry, Ghost, which is Isla of Adventure number 4, I think, by Dela, Costa. So this is about a little girl who lives on an island called Soul, and she can speak to the animals. And so this is about a sleepover where they think they hear a ghost, but it's actually a little animal. So these are cute, but they're just okay for me. Next is Frankie Sparks and the Big Sled Challenge. Frankie Sparks touts herself to be the best third grade inventor. And so her teacher tasks them with making a sled out of only cardboard boxes and duct tape. And they're in teams and they have to make the best sled. So there's some talk of teamwork and stuff because Frankie really wants to just take over. And I really wish it would have gone more with that because Frankie still kind of takes over. She just lets her two teammates like have a little bit of power. And so I felt like that part was not quite addressed the best. And overall, these books are just okay. I don't love them. Next is The Otter by Cynthia Rylant. So this is a series called The Lighthouse Family, and it started with a cat that lives in a lighthouse, and then a dog is a sailor. He gets kind of stuck there and decides to stay, and they become a little family along with 3 mice, and it's super cute. But this is number 6 in the series, and every book, I swear, they get shorter, and so they get less impactful. This one is about some otters who need some help, and in the last one, it was pretty short also, but you learned about the animal more. This one, you didn't really learn that much about otters, and it was just okay. So there's only 1 or 2 more that we have left to read, and I think then we'll be done with it. So then I read one middle grade for myself, and it was Just Jaime. This is by Terri Libenson. This is number 3, maybe, in her Invisible Emmie series. And this was cute. It's about a girl named Jaime, and her best friend kind of ditches her to be in the popular group. And it's both her and her best friend. Again, as always, you get two perspectives, and it's just them kind of navigating that. And I like these graphic novels. There's a fair amount of words, but not a ton, and they're pretty quick reads. This one took me forever to read, and I think it was because I had just read the first 2, and so I was needing a break from the series, so I'm taking a break, but this one was 3.5 stars. Now let's get into the adult books. The first book we have is for the X's and O's readathon. So I've talked about, I think, all these books a couple times, so I won't talk a ton about them here. But first we have A Winter in New York by Josie Silver. I was really excited about this book, and it turned out to be okay for me. It's a 3-star book about this girl who she finds this gelato shop, and it reminds her of her her mom's gelato recipe. And so she gets involved with this family and finds out her mom had some connections to the family that they don't have the recipe now because the patriarch is in the hospital and he's the only one that has it, and she knows it because her mom had it, and so now she's trying to help them. But the thing I didn't like about this book is she's lying the entire time and keeping things from people the entire time, and I didn't like that, and overall it was just okay for me. Next is Christmas in Peachtree Bluff by Kristy, Woodson, Harvey. This is number 4 in her Peachtree Bluff series, so not much to say about it except this series in general is about 3 sisters and their mother, and all meeting up at the mother's house in Peachtree Bluff, all the different things going on in their lives, and this is the culmination of it. It was festive, it was fun, it was a great end to the series, so I really enjoyed it. Next, I think this is also... this is also X's and O's. Chill Factor by Sandra Brown. So this is one that I've been not anticipating, but I've had it on my shelf forever, needing to read it. And this one is about a serial killer potentially that is a serial killer that's on the loose. There's a new body found of a young girl, and this big snowstorm hits, and our police detective and his wife are about to get divorced. They're at their secluded cabin, and she falls asleep, I guess, and ends up stuck there. And who wanders in except this suspected serial killer? And so she's trapped there with the serial killer. Our detective and his best friend and that kind of stuff are trying to get to her. And so there's that going on, but our detective is kind of sketchy. His best friend is super sketchy, and he's riding the coattails of his son. There's some things going on there. There's a little bit more to it, but honestly, this felt like them trying to get to her in a storm. Her not being able to, her going back and forth on if she should trust this guy or not, and a little romance between them that I was not here for. So again, kind of 3-star for that. So that's the X's and O's readathon. And then I did a NetGalley vlog for my patrons, and so I will have Patreon link down below, but so let's just talk about these quickly. We have Only If You're Lucky by Stacy Willingham, and I'm giving this 3.5 stars. I don't have a copy because Stacy Willingham's have all been 3.5, 4-star. Not anything I need to own. This is about a girl who, it's her freshman year in college. She's living in the dorms with another kind of quiet girl, and they're really just they're friends by default because neither of them are outgoing enough to want to go meet other people. They're kind of content even though they're not content. And so then at the end of the year, this larger than life, outgoing girl named Lucy comes and approaches our main character. I think her name was Margot, and says like, hey, do you want to come live with me and two other girls? And so she's like, okay, decides to do it. Even though that she doesn't know these people, but just because this girl is so magnetic or whatever. So they go and they live in this house that is owned by the frat. It's right by the frat. And Lucy, our magnetic girl, goes missing, as well as one of the frat boys, a new pledge, so a year younger than our other people, but he comes in and he is tied to Margot's past, and he is found dead. So it's trying to figure out who did what, where's Lucy, what's going on. And honestly, this book, I kind of feel like this about a couple books this month, but I feel like the author just kind of threw up everybody's name, figured out where they all landed together, and said, this is who killed who. And I mean, it all makes sense, but it was just kind of a cluster of an ending. And it just kind of felt kind of far-fetched based on how the book had gone. I also thought we were really told a lot about how magnetic and stuff Lucy was, and yet we didn't really feel it as much as I wanted to. So it was an entertaining read. I would give it maybe 3.5 stars. It just wasn't the best thing ever. Then we have Doing It All, Stop Overfunctioning and Become the Mom You're Meant to Be by Whitney Casares. And this one I gave 4.5 stars. So this is about exactly what it says. I mean, it's written for working moms, but I don't think you need to be a mom, and I don't think you need to be working outside the house to have this apply to you. It is very practical, very, very practical ways of looking at your life and seeing what priorities you have, what values you have, and making sure your life matches those, and that you're only doing what you want to be doing, as far as how it aligns with your values. And so it kind of reminded me of the Lazy Genius Way in the practicality of it. And this one, I don't have a physical copy yet. I have one on hold from the library, and I thought I would have it by now, but I don't. So I thought I would have a physical copy, but instead of just having journaling prompts where it's what are your main values? Write them here. No, it has here's 5, or here's 20 words. Which 5 make sense for your, which do you value most? And more practical things like that were really helpful and really made me think about things. And especially in our hustle culture, I've talked about it a lot lately, but homeschooling the kids, being a parent, being trying to make some income, trying to do all these things, it's just a lot. And figuring out how you've only got 24 hours a day, how are you going to spend them? And I really like that. There were some parts that didn't apply to me because I am working inside the home and taking care of kids and all that kind of stuff, and I am not career focused, but overall it was really good. And then last is No One Can Know by Kate Alice Marshall. So this is about a woman named Emma and her husband. They are coming on kind of hard times financially, and he's like, well, you own a house with your sisters, right? Let's go back to that house. Well, so her and her 2 sisters own a house that was their parents' house. Their parents were killed in that house, and Emma was the main suspect. And so now we are trying to figure out what happened then and what's happening now, because her sisters decide to come back to the house as well. So there's present timeline, there's past timeline. And again, this one I felt also kind of had a crapshoot of an ending where it was just everything thrown up in the air and it was crazy. But this one had more of an ambiguous ending where people don't remember what they were doing that night. So we don't actually know who done what, or else at least I wasn't able to follow who did what actually. There were some blurred lines between real and not real. So I thought this one, again, was an entertaining ride, but it was just okay for me. So that is everything that I read in the first half of February. Like I said, the ratings would say that it was a really great first half of the month, but I'm feeling kind of slumpy, and I'm feeling just kind of okay about things. So yeah, that's everything. I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.